Welcome to another week of Fire Fridays, your mindset reset, your midday mindset reset. I am your host, Natasha Bryant. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, your psychotherapist, well, not your psychotherapist, but a psychotherapist, mindset coach, and I'm here to help you receive the tools that is needed for you to confidently execute every single goal that you have in 2026. Click the link in click subscribe and hit the notification button to this YouTube channel, Speak Like Transformation TV, to get all things mental wellness. If you are a woman entrepreneur or a woman leader who is looking to scale and lead without sacrificing her emotional well-being, without losing herself, well, this channel is for you. So make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the notification button. If you are on LinkedIn, hop on over to the YouTube app. Search Speak Life Transformation TV while you're watching this so that you can subscribe and be notified when I drop any videos. Also, you can check me out on all my social media platforms. You can see at the bottom of this banner here, it gives you all the handles to my social media. And let's get into our mindset reset Fire Friday topic of the day. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 confidence blocks. You may be thinking, well, Natasha, what is a confident block? Let's start there, right? First of all, the reason why this is an important conversation to have is because sometimes you may find yourself being upset with yourself, being disappointed in yourself, thinking like there's something wrong with you, you're not doing enough, or you are not enough, or you're lacking discipline, you're lacking motivation. And these are all the reasons why you didn't achieve your goals that you want to achieve in 2025. And maybe where there's some doubt or worry that you may not achieve your goals in 2026. But let me tell you this. It's not because of any of those things. It's really internal. And this is what I'm here to help you understand as a mindset coach, as a psychotherapist, a mental wellness expert. I'm here to help you understand that there's more to just doing things. You have to understand what's happening internally to then be able to do the things that you want to do. And that's when it comes with setting goals. A lot of times it's not about you not doing enough or being enough. It's about what is going on within your mindset. Because many times, confidence is associated with the motivation. Well, if I have the motivation, then I'll feel confident. But really, it's into action. So let's talk about the mindset blocks that can really stop you from confidently achieving your goals. Now, these confidence blocks are also self-sabotaging habits. And this is why they are called or identified as self-sabotaging habits, because these are coping strategies that have kept you safe all these years. And now they're at the point where they're no longer keeping you safe, they're slowing down your momentum, which is why they are now self-sabotaging habits. At some point in your life, you experience some type of emotional distress, trauma, or just surviving through life. And there have been coping strategies that has helped you feel safe. There are coping strategies that have been helping you survive through life. And a lot of them are subconscious. You're not even aware of them. And that's why you're not even recognizing how they're sabotaging your momentum. So let's go into these 3 types of confidence blocks. Feel free to light the chat. Let me know your thoughts as you are watching this, whether it is you watching this live right now or you're watching this on the replay. I would love to hear what's coming up for you as we're having this discussion. Confidence block number 1. Overthinking disguised as preparation. The thing with this is that you're seeking certainty in an uncertain situation. Again, not feeling safe in the uncertainty. And so you're trying to create safety by creating some form of certainty. So you're overthinking the whole process. You're trying to prepare and plan to make sure that the thing that you want to happen happens, or the thing you do not want to happen does not happen. And so you're doing all this overworking to try to control the outcome. Now, this strategy feels very intelligent. It feels very strategic. It feels very logical, because it's like if I plan and I prepare, then I will be ready for whatever happens, right? Or I can prevent the thing that I don't want to happen, or I can guarantee that what I want to happen will happen. But really, it's a mask of productivity. It's making you feel like you're being productive, because just sitting around feels like you're doing nothing. Just sitting around feels like you're just letting the possibility of something happen that you don't want to happen. You just cannot just like let things just be or let things just happen. You have to try to control the outcome, which, as you can see, as I'm saying this, it's a form of anxiety. Because even just as I'm talking about it, you can sense the angst within all of that. Now, this is the thing with that, with the overthinking, it leads to like needing, it's like an example of this as an entrepreneur and or a leader. It makes you feel like you need another certification, another degree. This is an example of that, the overthinking, right? The overthinking will lead to you feeling like, oh, if I just have another degree, if I just have another certification, right, then I will feel prepared for whatever is coming my way. I will feel ready. I will feel confident in my abilities to handle whatever I have to handle, or be able to present whatever I need to present, or be able to show up in a confident way when I need to speak on this topic. Because the uncertainty of, am I going to say enough? Am I going to be enough? Are people going to believe that I belong here? But if I had that certification, I had a degree, then yes, that will be the thing that people will see me as enough. That will be the thing that will help me feel like I'm enough. This is what that can look like when it comes to an action example. So for my women entrepreneurs, this is what that would look like. You find yourself delaying a program, whether it's launching a program, launching a business, right? Because you want another credential, even when you're already trusted, even when your clients already trust that you know what you're talking about, even when you already have proven results that you know what you're talking about. You feel like, well, I can't launch this program, I can't launch this business until I get this X degree in this specific topic. I can't say that I know what I'm talking about in this topic until I have a certification that proves that I've done the training and the work, that I know this information. That's an example of the sabotage, because now it's delaying you from actually moving forward and achieving the goal that you want to achieve, which is launching the program or launching the business. For our women leaders, this is what it sounds like and looks like. Avoiding applying for a promotion because you want one more training. Meanwhile, less qualified colleagues are moving with confidence. They're moving forward confidently. Jim and Joe, they're over applying for the positions and you way more qualified, but they're moving with confidence. Meanwhile, you're thinking, well, I need to prove that I actually qualify for this position, and another training will show that. Self-sabotage. Here's another example of that overthinking, right? So the first one we talk about, the example of overthinking is needing another certificate, needing another degree. Another example of overthinking is there's this false prerequisite in order to start. That you're requiring yourself that you have to do certain things first before you can even follow through and start doing what you actually want to do. And within that, you're using perfection as a way to try to control the outcome. This is what that can look like as an entrepreneur. You won't start posting, whether it's posting about your job, the new business, posting about the new service or product, until the website, the logo, or the offer is perfect. You're requiring yourself to have all these things in place before you can even just talk about it, before you can just say coming soon, right? And for our women leaders, this is what this is going to look like. You're requiring you're requiring yourself to have all the data before you even speak up. You don't speak up in the meeting because you are requiring for yourself to have all this information, just in case somebody asks a question, just in case someone, inquires about a specific aspect of this topic. You want to make sure you have all the answers. You can answer every single answer. You have all the information before you can even speak up on it. Self-sabotage. As you can you see how the overthinking is delaying your momentum in this moment? Let's go to confidence block number 3. Confidence block, or no, confidence block number 2. We just did number 1. Let's now do number 2. Confidence block number 2 is there is this emotional burnout from being everything to everyone. And the issue with that is, and the reason why this is happening is because there is an identity attachment problem. And this is the problem. The problem is you are identifying being needed as being valued. I can't tell you how many times I've heard clients say to me, but if I'm not needed, what's my purpose here? If I'm not needed, then how am I proving that I contribute or I offer something in this relationship? And so that being needed then proves that you are valued or you bring value. And this is what that can look like, right? There's 3 types of behaviors or habits of how this can show up. The first one is being the problem solver or the fixer. And the thought process behind this, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, there's this idea that there's reward in rescuing, not delegating. Because as long as I'm rescuing people from their problems, they will see that I'm valued and I'm needed in their lives, that I belong in their lives. They're going to want to keep me around as long as I'm solving their problems and rescuing them. Because when if I delegate, then that's empowering them, or if I'm delegating, then they'll learn how to solve the problem on their own. And then what are they going to need me for if they can do it by themselves? How am I bringing value now? What's going to make them believe that I'm needed, that they need me in their lives, or they would want me in their lives, or want me in this scenario or this situation or at this table, right? This is what this is going to look like for my women entrepreneurs. This is what this can look like, where you over deliver for clients, you blur boundaries, and you underprice your work. Now, I'm going to raise my hand. This was me. The underpriced work, that was me. When I first started my practice, I was contemplating on pricing, like how much should I charge, right? Because the therapist in me, the bleeding, serving heart in me, wanted to make sure that anybody can have access to my services. I didn't want anybody to feel like they couldn't come to me because of my prices. I didn't want that to be a barrier. And then I'm wondering, but if they can't afford it, then what's going to happen? Are they no longer going to be able to have therapy? They're going to be able to find a therapist. I should take into account that if they can't find the funds to pay, that I should be able to help solve it by reducing forgetting that therapist hat and business hat are two totally different things, but also forgetting just the nature as a therapist. My job is to empower my clients, not to enable them. It's empowering them to help them figure out how to solve the problem, not to fix it for them. And if my pricing doesn't fit their needs, then I am not the therapist for them. Just like if they have an issue or problem they want to address in therapy, it's not something I specialize in or something that I work on, then I'm not their therapist. Both are the same. So I have to work on that myself as an entrepreneur. And then for my women leaders, it looks like this, where you're fixing everyone's mistakes instead of empowering them, creating dependency instead of leadership. You're over here, all your employees, supervisees, right? Instead of leading and empowering them, you are fixing their problems. They come to you, you're like, I'll just do it. Don't worry about it. I'll solve it, right? Or I'll help you, and the helping ends up doing 4, right? And then you're upset, and there's a resentment that, why do they keep coming to me? Why can't they just do it on their own? I just wish they would be able to figure it out first and try it before they call me. But yeah, you're often, when they do call, you just fix it for them. And then they end up being dependent on you instead of being able to find their own autonomy and their own leadership within their role. Another example of what this looks like, that emotional burnout from being everything to everyone, right, is being the strong one. This is where this happens because vulnerability feels unsafe. And asking for help feels like a failure. So you don't do it. And what that can look like as an entrepreneur is you end up building alone, like building the business alone with no support, no help. You know you need to hire employees, or you know you probably need some mentorship, but you're just doing it on your own. You refuse support, so even if somebody's asking to help you, you refuse. Like, I got it. I'm okay. I'll figure it out, because nobody can do it like you. Nobody's gonna love your business the way you love your business. Nobody's gonna care for your business the way you care for your business, right? And then what happens is you end up silently struggling. Meanwhile, on the outside, you appear to have it all together. And the thing about this is that as a strong one, you end up getting upset that why is nobody asking me for help? Why does everybody just assuming that I have it all together? It's because of the persona you have created. Because when people do ask for help, you say, no, I got it. I'm okay. Or if you are struggling, you just figure it out on your own. And so you build a persona that you do got it. You do have it together. If there is a problem, you will figure it out. And then people just stop asking or just start assuming that you're okay, because you are often presenting as if you are okay. So think about the persona you're creating. And then for our women leaders, this looks like this. You carry the emotional labor for the team, but never share your own needs. When your teammates, the people on your team that you're leading come to you about their concerns, their worries, their issues, you're making space for them. You're helping them figure it out, right? But never share your concerns. Never share what's going on with you, or never share what kind of help you need. And then you end up having this emotional burden and exhaustion and burnout. Third one in this category, that emotional burnout, what that looks like, being a dependable one. And what happens here, being a dependable one, is you end up adequating consistency. You end up equating consistency with self-sacrifice. They end up just meaning the same thing. And another thing that happens with this is you fear letting people down more than letting yourself down. I've often heard women say to me, it doesn't matter if I have to go through something, because I know I'll be able to handle it. It's not a big deal, but I need to make sure I'm there for them, because they won't be okay. And I often have to ask, why is it okay for you to struggle, but it's not okay for other people to struggle? Why is it an emergency if someone else has to struggle? An emergency for you to step in and be there for them. But yet it's not an emergency for you to step in and be there for yourself. Something to think about. This is what this looks like. As an entrepreneur, it can look like you saying yes to collaborations and requests that don't align with your goals, because you're known as the reliable one. You know you don't want to help on this project, or it's getting in the way of you actually making time to focus on your own project, right? You know, you have somebody else asking, oh, can you be a co-sponsor? Could you partner with me on this? And you know it's going to get in the way of you facilitating and focusing on your own projects or your own business goals. But the thought is, if I don't do it, there's nobody else that's going to be there. Nobody else is going to show up. They asked everybody else, nobody else is available. Or they know I'll show up, so if I don't do it, nobody else is going to be there. But who's going to be there for you? Who's helping you with your business? Right? And this is what it sounds like for women leaders. For women leaders, it sounds like where you end up taking on extra work to keep the peace, even when it costs your capacity. You know what? I'm just going to take it because I don't want any problems. I know I don't have no time for this, but if I don't do it, then it's not going to get fixed, and then it's going to be more work for me. So I'm just going to do it. Meanwhile, somebody else could do it. Somebody else could be handed this job, but you're like, I'm just, I don't want anybody to be upset because it's going to be a whole big thing if it doesn't get fixed, or Rebecca, she always has some type of issue going on. So I don't want. So it's okay for you to go beyond your capacity and not okay for other people to go beyond their capacity. Self-sabotage. Can you see how all of these habits lead to the cost of your momentum in executing your goals? Third and final, confidence block. Fear of visibility. There's this fear of being seen in your brilliance. And the reason why is because there's this idea that if I'm seen, then it will activate old emotional wounds, judgment, rejection, loss of trying to control how people perceive you. So I'd rather just not. I'm just going to stay in the background. There's a 3 types of mindsets, belief systems that lead to seeing visibility in this way. One is there's this belief that being seen equals more expectations. There's this idea that like there's this fear that if I'm seen, right, and people start to see my brilliance, right, they start to see what I'm capable of, my capacity, my capabilities, right, then they're going to expect more from me. And then as a result of them expecting more from me, I'm going to lose my freedom. Freedom to do whatever I want to do, right? Freedom to have time to do what I want to do. Freedom to make mistakes if I want to make, whatever that freedom is. And this is what this can look like, right? For an entrepreneur, it can lead to you end up finding yourself avoiding scaling your business because growth feels like pressure, not possibility. Feels like, if I scale and I grow my business, it's just going to be more problems, more responsibilities, more expectations that I'm going to have to uphold. And that just feels overwhelming. That just feels like a lot. So I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Business is good where it's at. We're just going to stay here. We're going to coast. And not seeing how growth really offers possibilities. For a leader, a woman leader, it looks like this, where you stay in the background to avoid being the go-to person. I'm not going to volunteer. I'm not volunteering. I'm not offering my services. I'm not going to say anything because as soon as I do and people hear my ideas or they see what I'm capable of doing, they're going to ask that I'm going to be the go-to person to always do that thing. And I'm not. And I can raise my hand on this one. I remember, I would often be in meetings, be that person that would like either help keep us on task because listen, my time is money and I don't need to waste time talking about other things other than what we're here for this meeting, right? Or I would end up leading the meeting to help keep time and keep us on track, right? Or I'll be the timekeeper or the note taker. And I got to the point where I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm tired of being the one to hold it. If we all track, we just all track. I'm exhausted. Has that been you? Or for when it comes, and the thing about it is like on both levels of hiding, right? Whether it's hiding in growth in your business or hiding in you like actually speaking up or showing your brilliance through sharing ideas, right? And meetings or in a professional setting, that hiding, it feels like you're protecting your peace, right? It's like, we're not going to do this because I don't have time. I don't have the energy. I don't want the stress. It's going to stress me out. It's going to cause me to feel overwhelmed. So we're not going to do that. It feels like you're protecting your peace, but really it's limiting the impact you were created. You were made on this earth to create in the space that you're in. The purpose, it limits you to actually walk in the purpose of why you're here by minimizing your brilliance. Another mindset, right? There's this thought process of being seen equals exposing imperfections. If I'm seen, people are going to see what I'm not good at. People are going to see where my challenges are. People are going to see that I don't know everything and I don't know what I'm talking about in certain areas, right? And there's this belief that visibility requires flawlessness. I need to be perfect in order for me to actually step in front or actually shine. This is what that looks like when it comes to entrepreneurship. You find yourself delaying going live, launching, or posting on social media because you're waiting to feel ready. You're waiting for all the I's to be dotted, all the T's to be crossed. I can remember when I first started building my social media platforms for for business purposes, and I would see how other professional women are using their pages, and they were always done up. And I'm like, so I gotta wear makeup now? 'Cause I don't even wear makeup. Like, do I have to start doing that? I mean, I put some gloss on, but like doing a whole then I gotta actually put on like some cute outfit. Like, I don't feel like doing any of that. So that was like, I don't feel like it. And then when I would edit any of my videos, it would take me forever because I'm trying to edit all the misspoken words or any stuttering or anything that was not perfect. I wanted to edit out because, again, it's supposed to be this perfect video. And that took the joy out of creating. And it made the process way much longer than it needed to be. I lied to you. That probably lasted maybe a couple weeks before I was like, okay, you know what? The people, y'all gonna get what you get. You gonna get the full, raw, authentic Natasha. And if you like it, you're my people's. I'm your person. And if you don't like it, that's okay too. Find somebody that fits you, right? But you have to get to that place where you just don't care because you want to be authentic and your true self. When it comes to a woman leader, it can look like this, where you hesitate to share your ideas unless they're fully polished. So you can be in the meeting, first 5 minutes of that meeting, you have a great idea. It comes to mind, and you're like, oh, I really want to share this. But then you start overthinking it. You start trying to replaying, what's the best way to say this? What's the best way to share this? Then you start scanning the room of who's in here, how people are responding. Oh, Kate is here. Oh, she always has follow-up questions. So I got to make sure I say this right so that she either don't have questions or I have an answer for a question. Oh, Rob is here. Oh, he always has to prove that he knows more. So I got to make sure I know everything before I say something. And now it's 30 minutes done passed. The meeting's almost over and you still haven't shared your idea. And this is the thing about, all of that is that you end up trying to be this polished, perfect person instead of just showing up as your full authentic self. And the thing is, you can't lead, right? Sorry, I'm moving fast. Let's go to the third point. Third and final point for this confidence block, fearing visibility, is there's this mindset that being seen equals judgment, being seen equals disappointing others, being seen equals offending others. So I can't share my brilliance because it's just going to upset folk. And what that's saying and what you end up doing is you end up learning how to manage other people's emotions at the expense of you showing up authentically. This is what it can look like. As an entrepreneur, you end up watering down your message to avoid backlash or unfollows. There's a lot going on in the political world, right? And I remember I saw another social worker, and she posted on her story. She said, as a result of posting a comment she made about something that was going on in the political world, she lost, I think it was like 1.1K followers. And she was like, and I'm okay with that. Because you have to ask yourself, is the followers or the comments more important, or you showing up represent what you value, what you find most important to you, why you're here on this earth, the purpose of why you're here. Is it worth your really watering down your purpose of what you're here for? And then for women leaders, it looks like this. You stay silent to avoid rocking the boat. So you're like, I'm just not going to say anything. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't have to go back and forth. I don't want people to think that I'm being a team player. I'm being difficult, aggressive. So I'm just not going to say anything at all. And I understand that because I was labeled at least 2 of those because I decided to speak up and say what I thought was right and rock the boat. So I get it. But the thing is, you can't lead while you're trying to be universally liked by everyone. You just can't. There's no way you can lead while trying to please every single person. So now you know what the blocks are. I spent more time on this than I was expecting, but I feel like it was necessary. So now let's talk about, okay, how do we replace these confidence blocks, because they are sabotaging your momentum. And again, these are all ways you've been trying to keep yourself safe from rejection, safe from judgments, right? Safe from people having a negative perception of you. All these types of habits have been helping you in that way, but at the same time, limiting you from really achieving the goals that you want to achieve and showing up as your true authentic self. So here are some strategies. We're going to go through the 3S model. Remember, I created a 3S model that makes things practical, puts things you actually are able to apply the strategies in a simple way. The first S in the 3S model is strategy. So the strategy is direction. You want to figure out, well, what is, you want to get clear on what is it you need, right? Because the uncertainty of that is what creates anxiety. So you need to be clear. You need a direction. You need to laser focus on what is it that I need in this space or in this moment. Strategy gives your mind direction, not pressure. Once you're clear on that, then there's no confusion. And there's no chaos of trying to figure out what to do and how to show up. And when it comes to our nervous system, when it comes to the psychological aspect of it, this is what clarity does. Clarity reduces the overwhelm. Clarity calms your nervous system. And clarity also eliminates this decision fatigue, trying to figure out what to do, what's the right decision to make, because you're clear on what you need to do and what the right decision is. You can't feel confident walking into a room not knowing. Please understand this. I'm going to repeat this again. You cannot feel confident walking in a room not knowing, one, why you are there. You need to be clear on, why am I in this? What's my purpose in this space? You cannot be confident walking in a room not knowing what you need. Why I'm here, what do I need? What am I looking for? And you cannot be confident walking in the room not knowing what success even looks like. What is the goal here? What is the outcomes that you want? What is that success? So clarity is important. These are all reasons why clarity is important. Now let's go to the other S in the 3S model, which is structure. Remember, structure is all about the habits. What are the things you're going to do to build the confidence, right? To show up confidently. And then thinking about this is like the routine that makes confidence predictable. What does that look like? The understanding, one thing I want you to understand about confidence is built through repetition, not motivation. It's not about if you're in the mood to be confident. Because if you're waiting on your emotions, there's gonna be times where you're just not gonna show up confident because you don't feel like it. You're not in the mood. You might be feeling anxious or depressed or just low energy. So if you're waiting on your mood to be in the right place, to be motivated, to be confident, you're gonna be waiting a long time in some circumstances. But it's built through the repetition, your actions. Confidence becomes very fragile when it depends on your mood, your energy, and your motivation. It is not an emotionally driven form. Confidence is not emotionally driven at all. And so what structure does when it comes to the psychological aspect of it is, right, structure helps build self-trust through consistency. So the more you're consistent with following through on these actions, right, then the more you begin to trust yourself and being able to handle things, tough things, right? Structure also reduces reliance on the emotional state. When you have that structure, you already have the habits built in place, you already have the routine. You don't have to be in the mood to feel confident. You don't have to be in the mood to become confident. You don't have to have the energy because you already have a routine built in place. It's like when you work out, when I don't feel like working out, I just do it because now it's part of my routine. So I don't have to even think about it. I don't have to necessarily be in the mood or energized to do it because it's already built in my routine, for example. And structure also shifts confidence from hope to habit. Instead of hoping that you feel confident, the confidence is built in you doing the thing. Now, some examples of that routine, some structure examples would be non-negotiable decision making. When you make a decision, you make it. You don't question it. You don't need reassurance. You don't overthink it. You don't second guess it. This is my decision. I'm following through on it. Another one is you schedule mindset resets. So you schedule time to just do a reset, to really think, to pay attention to how am I thinking right now? And are my thoughts helping me follow through in these habits, or are they not helping me follow through in the habits? And the last one is consistency with your boundary setting. Practice your boundaries consistently. Don't sometimes do it, or only with certain people you assert that boundary, or certain situations you assert that boundary. No, assert it in every situation on a consistent basis, even when there's pushback. Last in the 3S model is systems. Systems is the mindset resets when doubt shows up. When we talk about the mindset reset is one of the examples for structure, the habits. So systems goes back to accountability. How are you going to hold yourself accountable with executing those habits? Because this is the thing. The goal isn't about eliminating doubt or fear or anxiety, because those are emotions that are going to show up. It's more about shortening how long it has access to you. Your emotions are going to show up, and they're valid, because certain situations may be stressful. Certain situations may be a little scary. So you might feel some doubt. You might feel some anxiety. That's okay. But what you want to make sure you do is you shorten how long it has access to you. That can stop you from actually executing your goals. So this is what systems do. Systems do when it comes to the psychological and emotional aspect. Systems interrupt those negative thought loops. That negative feedback that just keeps looping, interrupts that. Systems also regulate your emotional responses. It helps you bring down the energy, helps you able to manage your emotions effectively. And systems also prevents the overthinking that become paralysis. Analysis paralysis is real. And the systems will help disrupt that and prevent that. So some examples of systems would be reframing or thought reframing scripts. There is something, like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? I call them the what if worries, and replace them with what I call what if wins. So instead of like, what if nobody shows up on my live? What if you have multiple views with the replay? Another reframe script is I call them the I should have replays, which is where you're constantly replaying a mistake you made in the past, or something that happened in the past. You're constantly replaying. You're like, oh, I should have done this, or should have done this instead, or I should have said that instead, right? Replace that with what I call the next time restarts. So instead of, oh, I should have said something in that meeting, I should have spoken up. Replace that with, next time, I'm going to make sure I say something without hesitating. Another strategy for structure is grounding techniques. So finding techniques to help ground you, bring you into the present. What you think about grounding techniques? So these are techniques that you connect with your five senses. So you might have heard the one ground technique, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where it's like 5 things I hear, 4 things I see, 3 things I taste, etc. That's an example of a grounding technique. Another grounding technique is where you can have a mint in your mouth, and then you just take a moment to pay attention to the sensation of the mint, the flavor, the texture on your tongue. When you bite down to it, how does that crunch feel? That helps you. That's helping you connect with your taste, for example. It could be another grounding technique is mindful music, where you're paying attention to the sounds of the music, the instruments, the lyrics the person is saying, and you're focusing on that. Those are examples of grounding techniques, things that help you bring yourself back to the present, so you're no longer finding yourself being stuck in worrying about the future or feeling stuck in replaying the past. Another and final example of structure is emotional regulation tools. These are tools that help regulate your emotions, bring down the emotional energy. Breathing is an amazing way to bring down your energy. It activates the oxytocin within your parasympathetic nervous system. So breathing techniques like box breathing, lion's breath, anchor breathing are some examples. Another emotional regulation tool is stretching. So like releasing any tension in your body through stretching could be another way as well. So those are strategies. Now, let's talk about, I know I'm doing a lot, so hope y'all taking notes. Next, I want to talk to you about, these are another strategies, but this is now with your mindset. So those are habits you can engage in to really consistently follow through on your the reset confidence habits and routines. That's what I'm looking for, routines. But this is like more this like confident reset checklist. We talked about one of the strategies is doing a mindset reset. So here's some strategies on the more cognitive end within your mindset to do a reset. One is create a bare minimum plan. This is the thing, especially for our high achieving women. You often find yourself expecting yourself to show up at this high level at all times, even when you don't have energy, even when you're not even in the right mood. You're still expecting yourself to excel at this high level when you physically or mentally just don't have the capacity to do so. Right. And so when you have a bare minimum plan, then you have, okay, realistic expectations of when I have the energy and when I am in the right state of mind and with my mood. And these are expectations I have when I'm just feeling really low and I just don't have it today. Right? That helps you set realistic expectations. You're not lowering the bar. You're being realistic about where your capacity is, starting at your actual baseline. Another one is call out the emotional clutter. Call out the mental load traps, the things that are causing you to feel overwhelmed or getting stuck in those self-sabotaging habits, right? Call out those things, the thoughts that are criticizing you or the negative thoughts. And do not judge yourself or shame yourself for having those thoughts. Normalize and validate that that's what's happening with you right now, and then ways to move forward. Another one is allowing yourself, set a boundary where you you pick one guilt-free no that you will practice. What is that? It's probably a lot of no's that you're saying there's probably a lot of things that you need to be saying yes to, you need to start saying no to that you've been saying yes to. Pick one and allow yourself to say no, practice saying no without feeling guilty about it. And a final strategy is find an accountability partner for 2026 execution. Choose one person. Now, this is the thing. Some people just say, hey, I need you to be my accountability partner, and that's it. No, you need to respect this person's time, energy, and capacity. So whoever you have in mind, have a conversation with them and say, hey, I'm looking for an accountability partner for 26 so I can execute my goals. These are the things I'm looking for in an accountability partner. This type of help that I need. Is this something that you have the capacity to do? And that person can then say yes or no. And if they say no, find somebody else. If they say yes, great. And they already know what you're expecting of them as well. As we wrap up for today, I really like the one key concept I really want you to understand is that confidence is not who you are. It's what you practice. Sometimes we look at people like, oh, they're so confident because of, their background and what they've been through or, the successes they had, right? No, confidence is like what you practice on a day to day. It's what you've built, something you built. It's all internal. It's not about what you do, the outcomes, right? But it's more about like how you are showing up, the steps you are taking, right? Now we talked about a lot. We did a lot of unmasking. We unmasked your confidence blocks. And if you are looking for more, if you really enjoyed this conversation and you want to dive a little deeper into this work, then you have to come to my, I have a masterclass happening let me just fix this so I can have this right. There we go. I have a masterclass happening on January the 28th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a virtual masterclass called Reset Yourself for 2026. And it's all about helping you build that confidence, helping you gain that clarity so that you can really execute your goals in 2026. And a lot of what we're talking about today, I'm going to dive deeper into during this session. So you can click the link or you can scan the QR code that is there. Or wait, let me get sorry, y'all. Or you can go to the website right there, speakliketransformation.com. You scan the QR code will take you right there. Or you can visit my website to learn more. If you enjoyed this, then I need for you to like this video. If you found this helpful, put a comment in the comments. Also, subscribe. If you like this, then you're going to love next week's Fire Friday as well at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So subscribe, hit the notification button so that you do not miss when I go live. I thank you again for your time, and I will see you next week for Fire Fridays.